Take a moment and breathe. One power. Let's take a deep breath in together. Exhale. Another deep breath in. Hold it at the top. Exhale. With each breath, we know that God is in each breath. God is all life, for it is all good in all God. So it is, and so it shall be. Amen. Just perfection. Thank you. In a maximum security prison in Licking, Missouri, there's a program for some of the inmates who earn it, who, through good behavior, staying away from violence, and other kinds of activity that are not acceptable within that prison community, there's a quilting program. And these men, some of whom have been incarcerated for 40, 50 years, some who have not nearly as long, a wide range of offenses, and they make quilts for foster children in the surrounding communities. And in the documentary, they talk about what it takes to be able to do what they do, because they live in an environment where it is easy to fall back into old behaviors, where it's easy to lose who you are now because you spent so many years, perhaps decades, as some other kind of person, somebody that these gentlemen often do not recognize now. They don't know who that person was. And so being able to be something new within that environment takes intense focus and an earnestness that some of them did not have in their lives beforehand. So it's interesting hearing them talk about shifting their lives, because if you want to talk about a huge shift, going from a life of crime or committing a crime that is quite heinous for some of them, and being able to know yourself as something new and to be able to bring into yourself everything that you need in order to fully stay there on a regular basis. Not all of them make it. Some of them end up being kicked out of the program because they get into trouble, or there's some kind of violent something, or they've had contraband in their cell or something like that. But to be able to stay takes intense work. But for them, it's life-changing. And they often have to switch mindset from when they are in community to when they come into the quilting room between 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. They have to be a different person out in the full general population than they are within the quilting room. In the general population, you have to wear a facade, and you have to be something else. In fact, you often have to be what brought you into that prison community in the first place. And then you have to shift when you're in the quilting room, because there you can be your true essence, which is love, and you can show that. And that's what they do, and they do all of the work, all their quilting work, every single stitch, every single cut of the scissors is done with love, because they know they're sending these quilts out to children who desperately need something. And for some of these children, this is the first thing they've ever had that was theirs. First thing they've ever had. So they talk in this documentary about being able to be with each other in a way that they can't be with other people in general population. And you see the smiles on their faces, and they see how they can have a gentleness with each other. That they can, when they read the cards, the thank you cards from these children, that they can each have a moment where they're their hearts are touched, and often there are tears in their eyes, and they can have a moment with each other where they can celebrate being able to have that feeling with another human being present, because you can't do that back in your cell. So when we talk about change, what impressed me in that documentary, that this is huge change. And most of us here, when we don't have to deal with that kind of activity or that kind of phenomenon in our lives, we too are changing, but perhaps we don't have to make such a major shift. Sometimes we do. And so what happens with that? I was thinking of the words that each of us chose and that we wrote down and hung on the tree. I love looking at that tree, by the way. And I love seeing the paper ornaments hung on them. And I loved when each of you came forward and told me what your word was, and I anointed you as that particular energy, and you were taking that in. But what I also thought of is in the intervening weeks from choosing the word, what's happened? Have we been able to stay the course? Are you still holding that word as strongly and as firmly as you held it the day in the moment you chose it? Because it's easy to get sidetracked. And just like these gentlemen have to deal with going back into general population and coming back in the quilting room and being able to be what their true essence is, which is love, we too have to deal with, do I want this, and what is it? And am I embracing it? Am I learning to embody it? Am I living it during the day? And do I get distracted by the world and what I'm used to doing and what I'm used to thinking about myself? And have I lost touch with what that is? And how do we stay the course? How do we stay the course? I happen to have chosen a word which I was working on beforehand and which just stayed with me. When I went into meditation with all of you and thought about what is it, my guidance was stick with this. We're working on this still. There's more work to do with that still. And so I already had some momentum with that word. I already had some things that I had put in place with that word. I already had some affirmations that I was using. There were some things that I changed in how I live in order to embody that word and to remind myself about that word, about that energy. And I'm constantly in meditation about it because I want to know, okay, if you're telling me that there's something more, what's the more? What else is it that you're calling me to? What's the next level of this that you're calling me to? Because I kind of thought I was doing pretty good with it, and I probably was. And it was working, and I was feeling a difference with it. My word is vibrancy, by the way. Vibrant health. Vibrancy in mind, body, spirit, and heart on all levels of life. And for me, that means being in my light in all areas of my life as often as possible. That's what vibrancy is for me. And that whatever is happening, the vibrancy of my spirit, my heart, and my mind are translating into my body. And that I can feel that vibrancy in my prayer and meditation time. And so there are things, there are specific songs that I listen to during the day that help me feel that, especially when I'm not feeling it in the moment. I wonder, okay, I need to get back into that energy. I want to be back in that energy. How do I get there? And I've said before, for me, music always flips the switch for me. Immediately. And it's kind of like, can you name that tune? The first 1, 2, 3 notes, I'm back in the energy of that song. And I'm back in that energy of vibrancy. So I have tools that I'm using to keep me in the energy of my word, of vibrancy. And on the mornings because sometimes it's the morning when I wake up and I'm already thinking of what it is I have to do during the day. I'm already losing some of my feeling of vibrancy. And so I have to stop myself and make myself go back into that energy. So maybe a song comes on. Maybe, usually I'm looking at my phone and I'm starting to scroll, and so I have to make myself put the phone down. And so I put it somewhere where I can't immediately grab it, and I sit back down and I go into silence. And that's where I do the asking. How do I embody vibrancy today? What is the more you want me to express today that is vibrancy? How do I show up more fully, vibrantly today? What does my body need today? What does my mind need to hear? What do I need to read? What do I need to do to help me stay in this energy? So we need tools to help us get there. So each of us, as we're walking this journey, because we're going to walk it through the rest of the year. We got about seven more months to go. So how do we stay the course? You need to find things that will help you stay the course, things that work for you. And only you know what helps you stay the course. And it may be that you find plan A for now, and then you find out 3 weeks from now plan A is not working, you need to go to plan B. What's plan B? Or what was working in the first month is not working in month 2 and 3 because you have new challenges. You're being asked to step into something else, something new within your particular energy or word. And now you need different tools because you're a different person. You're showing up as somebody new. You are a new expression of that energy. So this stuff that you had back there means nothing to you now. And that's okay. Do not get upset about that. In fact, celebrate it. Say, all right, I've already run through that. Now I got to find new tools. I need a new song. I need a new affirmation. Maybe you need new people in your life. Maybe you need to take care of yourself differently. Maybe you need to meditate longer. Maybe you need to be more diligent in the time you're meditating. Maybe it's not the amount of time that you're meditating. Maybe it's your presence within that time that matters, that needs to be different now. We all know that there are some days when we're meditating, we're just checking off boxes. And we're not really in the meditation. We're not really in feeling the presence of God. The presence of God is there. Whether or not we're feeling connected to it is something different. So maybe it's how you are holding space for yourself within that meditation time that needs to shift. Maybe that means easing into your meditation time with something else, with some kind of ritual. Maybe you need to light a candle. Maybe you need to chant something. Maybe you need a song like One Power. Maybe you need to go outside in nature. Maybe you need to move. Maybe you need to walk. Maybe you need to sing. Maybe you need to garden. I don't know. You need to ask what works. You need to pay attention to the moments when that energy of that word that you chose, when you're feeling it, and what just happened to make you feel it. What just happened? Pay attention to that. What's going on when you're feeling that energy? And do that again. It takes energy to change. Especially if we're breaking habits and patterns of thought. So take your time. Yeah, 7 months goes quickly, and then it doesn't, especially when you're making change. especially when there are things to do, especially when you're trying to create a new you, to look towards something else, to express something else that you've never expressed before. Back when I was writing my book, and I've told this story before, but it bears repeating, that I had to create an avatar for myself who was the published author. And I saw her in my mind. And she looked a particular way, and she carried herself a particular way. And I had a name for her. There were decisions she would make that I wouldn't make. And so I would ask in moments, what would she do? What would the published author, me, do in this moment? Would I be watching another episode of Grey's Anatomy? Or would I be sitting in meditation? Could I sit and play more games on my phone? Or would I work on the book again? Would I contact somebody else about a speaking opportunity? Do the things that Kim was afraid of, but the published author was not. So I had to think like that being who was already where I was trying to be. And there were real big differences between what I would chose and what she chose. And I did that until at some point I realized I was her. And I went, oh my gosh, there's no separation between Kim and the published author. I'm walking around like her all the time. I'm her. And there was a part of me that was always her. I just didn't see her. And I didn't act like I knew her. And I acted like I didn't already know that she was here within me, waiting to be expressed. So the word that you chose on Easter Sunday, or whatever day you chose it, you already have everything that is required of that energy. You already are that energy. You just haven't opened the doors to let it out. Maybe you haven't claimed it enough. Maybe you haven't affirmed it enough. Maybe you haven't looked at it enough. Maybe you have not sat with it enough during your meditation time, saying it over and over and over again. So there are days that I have to say, I am vibrancy. I am vibrancy. I am vibrancy. And then I start acting like vibrantly healthy me in mind, body, spirit, and heart. So when I start feeling less than, I know that that's not vibrant me. And I have to shift that energy. And I know it. I always know when I'm showing up less than, or it's out of alignment with the energy that I've chosen. I always know it. We always know when we're showing up less than. The question is, are you going to choose to rise into that energy in that moment? And say, yes, I am this. So there was a day when I was working out. I don't know if I said this before. I'm saying it again, if I did. And I was working out a couple of weeks ago, and I was just in my workout, not really focused on any particular thing, not really focused on that word. And so this reading about God giving us something and being the inspiration for the thought we had and for the word that we chose, for the energy that I chose, all of a sudden I heard in my head, yes, you are that powerful. And I just let it sit, and then it repeated. Yes, you are that powerful. And I know it wasn't me. It wasn't Kim saying that to myself, because I was just bouncing on my mini trampoline, having a good time, listening to my music. And there was a thought injected into my head, interjected and injected into my head that said, yes, you are that powerful. So when you think of your divine self, that's the answer. When you think of your divine self and you say, I don't know, I'm not supposed to be thinking that. The answer is yes, you are that powerful. No matter what your word is, yes, you are that powerful. We got to stop doubting ourselves. We got to stop grasping for crumbs and saying, all right, yeah, this is me. This is what I've always been. I always show up. I'm doing it again. What the hell? Ugh. You know you do it. I do it. We're kind of dragging through our day, acting like you don't have power, acting like you don't have dominion. And the answer is yes, you are that powerful. Very simply. There's no conceit in it. There's no arrogance in it. There's no false power in it. It's just yes, you are that powerful. Yes, I am that. And so when you are faced with your word, when you're thinking about it again, just say, yes, I am that. Yes, I am that powerful. Yes, of course. Yes. And let yourself be okay with it. And keep saying it until you feel it. Until you get to the point where you say, yeah, I'm that powerful. Yes. Of course. I was made in the image and likeness of God. Yes, I am that powerful. Let yourself have that moment. Let yourself sit in that energy, because that's the energy that helps you stay the course. That's the energy that helps you be that as often as you can, as often as you are willing. It's all about willingness. It's not about ability, because you already have it. It's about whether or not you're willing to go there. So are you willing to go there? Are you willing to be what you were created to be? Are you willing to be that energy that was inspired in and through you by divine love? That knows all that you are and all that you have been through and all that you are contending with right now, and said, this word is for you this year. I always believe that what comes through me, the messages that I get, are from God. I always know that. I always know that. So I trust it 100%. And if you're not trusting, it means you got some work to do with trust, which just means all you need to do is sit in the meditation with be still and know that I am God. And repeat it over and over and over again until you feel it in your bones, and that you know that what comes through you is for you. Only you. And even if somebody else has the same word, they won't have the same energy that you will have with it. Because you are uniquely divine, and so are they. So we're staying the course. What was Easter? April 30? 20th? And now we're at June 1st. So a little over a month. It's okay that you're not staying the course. You can get back on the path and do it today. Pick up that affirmation card that Glenna made for us. Thank you, Glenna. There's more in the back. If you need another one, we're going to repeat it every Sunday. It's up on the board. We'll do it with our affirmations at the end of service. Get back into it. I've got stuff about vibrancy all over the places in my home where I go on a regular basis. I run into it all the time. So if I've forgotten about it, I've got a reminder somewhere because I know how I get. My mind starts running. I'm in my stuff during the day and I forget. And all of a sudden, I'm in the kitchen. I'm doing something else. I'm rushing to get somewhere. I got to eat something real fast. And bam, there it is. There's vibrancy actually on a bottle of water in the refrigerator. So every time I go to drink, I think and I affirm vibrancy. And I say that every drop of water that I drink is helping me be more vibrantly healthy. It's easy to lose our way. The world is noisy, our lives are busy. And most of us are doing far more than we probably should be handling in a day. Because that's just how we roll, right? Most of us are smack dab up against overwhelm on a regular basis. So you need reminders. Find your tools and be unapologetic about using them. Use them as often as you need to. And at some point, you will know, you will feel it when you're in that energy, and you'll be in it more often. You'll be in it more often. Man, I switch back into vibrancy so quickly now because I keep using my tools. And at some point, I'll feel like I'll just be shining bright everywhere, all the time. I have to give y'all sunglasses. See, I'm handling all the sparkling up here. Thank you. So just be who you is, people. Hold on to that word that was chosen for you, through you, the moment that you chose it. And just go boldly forward. Again, one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time. Ask Spirit, what is it that I do, you want me to do now to help me express this in a way that I've never expressed it before? And do that thing. And do it until Spirit tells you to do something different. Just ask. You don't know? Ask. Boy, will you get answers. Ask and you shall receive. Shall receive, shall receive. Not maybe, not might. Shall receive. That means it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Just keep your hearts open. Keep your hearts open, knowing that everything that comes through you is for you. And you'll be blessed in a way that you've never been blessed before. Let's take this into meditation. So think of your word, bring it up in your heart and your mind. If you weren't with us on that day and you don't have a word, ask now. Ask Spirit, what do you have for me? What is it that I want and need to express this year? Just be open to whatever comes up. And hold that word now in your heart. Be curious about what it is and what it means for you. Not just today, but every day through the rest of this year. What is Spirit calling you to? For your own good, for your own blessings, for your own joy, your own abundance. Jesus said, I came that you may have joy and have it fully. Whatever you've been called to, is here to bring you joy, inexpressible joy. Jesus also said, I leave you peace. My peace I give you. My peace I give you. Whatever energy you have been called to will surely bring you peace. The kind of peace that Jesus had. Peace, born of the deep knowledge that he was one with God. And that oneness meant that everything he needed or desired was right there for the asking, for the claiming. Whatever he asked to be healed was healed. Whatever he asked to be done was done. He surrendered fully to oneness, and so now I ask, are you willing to surrender yourself to the fullness of God? Are you willing to say yes to peace and joy? Are you willing to say yes to that energy that was chosen for you? To answer every prayer on your lips. To comfort every pain you bear. To resolve every question in your mind. To fill every void you think exists. To satisfy every hunger. The word you were given is a gift, just for you. By the one power, one love. So now in your heart of hearts, I invite you to say, I am, and insert that word you chose. I am. I am vibrancy. Yes. I am that powerful. Everything that I need in order to express this fully in my life is already within me. It's already there. We just have to open the door. Open our hearts. Open our minds. Breathe in and say yes. Breathe in and say thank you. It is already done. And so it is, and so it shall be. Amen.